What happens when 49,000 Chinese electric cars meet Canadian canola on the world stage? And what does it mean for jobs in Ontario, trade in Ottawa, and your grocery bill? Quick Ottawa weather. Expect a high around 2 degrees this afternoon, dropping to -8 tonight. No snow today. Canada's headline deal with China is in full focus. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has struck a landmark agreement that swaps market access. Up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles can enter the Canadian market at a reduced 6.1% tariff, down from a previous 100%, while China lowers duties on key Canadian agricultural exports. Canola seed tariffs drop from 84% to 15%, and tariffs on canola meal, lobsters, crabs, and peas are eliminated at least through the end of 2026. It's a big policy pivot after years of frost. Remember the Meng Wanzhou extradition fight and foreign interference concerns, and it's clearly designed to diversify beyond the United States. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe is applauding, seeing a boost for prairie exports, especially canola. In Ontario, Premier Doug Ford and auto industry groups are sounding alarms about domestic jobs, warning that cheaper EVs could undercut local manufacturers. There are also questions being raised about privacy and human rights concerns tied to some imported vehicles. From the U.S., President Donald Trump called the deal a good thing and backed Carney's decision, but his officials were more cautious. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer warned Canada could regret the decision in the long run, particularly if a wave of low-cost EVs disrupts the North American market. He also said American car exports to Canada aren't expected to be affected by this specific move. All of this lands as the Canada-US-Mexico agreement heads toward its 6-year review clause, so the optics, timing, and leverage on both sides of the border matter. Meanwhile, Ontario's trade stance is hardening elsewhere. In response to U.S. tariffs, more than $80 million worth of American alcohol has been pulled from LCBO shelves, with the province steering customers to Ontario and Canadian producers until those tariffs are lifted. On the downside, weak lumber demand and those same U.S. tariffs are hitting forestry in northwestern Ontario. Domtar is shutting down its Ignace sawmill indefinitely, a blow to local workers and supply chains. British Columbia is hedging its bets with a non-binding agreement with China to promote modern wood construction, part of a West Coast push to broaden lumber markets beyond the U.S. Zooming out to the diplomatic backdrop, a top American envoy visiting Kamloops acknowledged the strain in U.S.-Canada relations as tariff skirmishes pile up and CUSA's built-in renegotiation window approaches. Both countries say they're diversifying trade, even with China, so expect more maneuvering as Ottawa and Washington try to preserve continental ties while managing domestic pressures. Health Policy Watch. South of the border, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been appointed U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary, and under his influence, the CDC has reduced the childhood immunization schedule, moving several vaccines from routine to optional, including for flu, COVID-19, hepatitis, meningococcal disease, and rotavirus. Canadian experts worry this shift could spill over the border by fueling vaccine hesitancy here, since our public debates are closely linked. Doctors warn that dialing back routine shots risks letting controlled diseases rebound, with more hospitalizations, especially among children and immunocompromised people. Ontario's public health units will be watching for any knock-on effects in school vaccination rates and outbreaks. Overseas, Iran's protests continue under a severe crackdown. Global Affairs Canada is urging Canadians in Iran to leave immediately. An Iranian Canadian told reporters her aunt was killed during demonstrations in Tehran and denied medical care. According to U.S.-based Hayrana, over 2,400 protesters have died since the unrest began amid economic crisis. Canada severed diplomatic ties with Iran back in 2012 over nuclear concerns and support for the Syrian regime, and a Canadian citizen has reportedly died at the hands of authorities during the current crackdown. Here at home, Iranian Canadians, including many in Ottawa, are holding rallies to press for international action and to support families who can't get their loved ones to safety. On the court last night, a gut punch for Raptors fans. Toronto fell 121-117 in overtime to the Clippers. James Harden was vintage, dropping 31 points with 10 assists and scoring 8 in the extra frame, including the burst that erased a late 109-101 Raptors lead with 3:35 left in regulation. Ivica Zubats added a 16-point, 14-rebound double-double, and the Clippers' win streak is now 5. The Raptors were shorthanded. Emmanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl, and R.J. Barrett were out, and Kawhi Leonard didn't play for LA with knee and ankle issues. Toronto's defense sparked fast break chances, but lapses on Harden at key moments proved costly. If you're looking to plug into Ottawa's stories beyond the headlines, CBC Ottawa's The Highlight newsletter spotlights people, places, and events around the city, and the This Is Ottawa podcast with Robin Bresnahan drops new episodes every Monday. In the GTA, the TO-Do list compiles events and contests across Toronto. And for TV nights, January brings new seasons of St. Pierre, Still Standing, Small Achievable Goals, Allegiance, and Wildcards. Before we go, 2 quick analyses to keep in mind. First, despite all the noise about democratic decline, Canadian satisfaction with our democracy and trust in institutions like elections and the Supreme Court has stayed relatively stable over the past 15 years, and higher than in the U.S., even as trust in mass media slips. Second, reporting on foreign influence during the Trump years suggests some countries found more success currying favor by enriching the Trump family through gifts or business deals, including via cryptocurrency and investments, than through traditional diplomacy. It's a reminder that transparency and guardrails matter, especially as Ottawa navigates big power politics while trying to diversify trade. That's it for today. If this China deal shapes your work, on the farm, at the plant, or on the port, tell us how. We'll be tracking the ripple effects all week.